The jury and retrieve prosecution's three?
Yes.
Officer Keenan, on cross-examination, you were asked about the manner in which this napkin was exchanged. Now, after Ms. Covington pushed back this napkin, what happened?
Well, after that, Mr. Bancroft, he had the napkin again, so we wrote, he crossed out the $150,000, and then he wrote, yes equals $250,000.
What happened after Avery Bancroft wrote yes equals $250,000?
After that, it was slid back to Miss Covington, and she took the napkin. She put it in her coat pocket.
Thank you, Officer Keenan. No further questions. Permission to approach the jury and return.
Yes. Any recross?
No recross, Your Honor, with permission to publish a copy of Defense Exhibit A to the ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Officer, thank you. You're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Prosecution.
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Devin Delsesto to the stand. For direct examination, Your Honor, permission to retrieve evidence from the jury states for the briefcase.
Yes.
May I proceed?
You may.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you please state your full name for the court and spell your last name for the record?
Yeah, sure. The name's Devin Delsesto. That's spelled D-E-L-S-E-S-T-O.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm a bellhop over at the Black Bear Hotel and Casino.
And what are some of your responsibilities as a bellhop?
They got me doing a little everything. You know, I got to bring towels to people down the pool. I got to park their cars. I even got to carry the heavy luggage up to their rooms. You know, when they first hired me, they were like, "We're looking for a big guy, you know, like this." Well, so they got me. I ain't too tall or nothing. My wife likes to say I'm more of a big guy like this. What are you gonna do? I've been there since.
Okay, Mr. Delsesto, are you familiar with the defendant in this case, Ms. Chase Covington?
Yeah, sure. Miss Covington, she was a regular at the casino. You know, she was there all the time.
Did you ever see Ms. Chase Covington meet with Mr. Avery Bancroft?
Yeah, I saw them meet a few times. You know, Bancroft always liked to meet with the bigwigs.
All right, could you give a date on that, sir?
Well, the first time I remember was Teresa's birthday. That's my wife. It was April 13th of last year.
And can you please tell the jury how April 13th began?
Well, I was working by the front desk, and then there was some call for room service, some real fancy wine and Italian cheese. I figured, hey, you know, expensive orders like this, might be some rich guys, figured I could get a good tip, so I volunteered to bring it up, so I brought it up to the room.
Well, what happened when you got to the room?
Well, when I got to the room, there was this big Sylvester Stallone-looking dude guarding the door. He wouldn't let me in at first, and then I was like, hey, buddy, you know, I'm just trying to do my job, deliver some room service, all right? And then he let me in.
So what did you see when you finally got to the room?
Well, there was 4 people sitting around his table, you know, looking real serious. There was Mr. Bancroft, Miss Covington, Bancroft's assistant, Corey Hyde, and this other fellow, Mickey Keenan.
Did you hear anything while you were in there?
Yeah, you know, when I first went in, I heard Covington say, "I'd also like a new one of these, if you catch my drift." I was like, what is this lady talking about? But that's when I noticed this real beat-up, old-looking briefcase she had. Like, this thing looked like it around from the 70s or something.
More prejudicial than appropriate. May I be heard on this point?
Okay.
What this witness just testified to was that he didn't know what Ms. Covington was talking about when she made that statement. But then he's now trying to link that to the briefcase. But it would be speculative for him to do that. So the way, I would just ask that opposing counsel break up the testimony. If he wants to ask what this witness saw about the briefcase, that's fine, and what Ms. Covington said, that's fine. But to try to link the two, it's speculative.
Response, Your Honor?
Sure.
The witness didn't say, hey, I thought Ms. Covington was talking about the briefcase. He simply laid out the order of events in which he proceeded. So he walks into the room, he hears that also like any one of these, he sees the briefcase. Witness didn't say she's talking about the briefcase.
Your Honor, that's why I objected to more prejudicial than appropriate. Is because the way it was presented, it was not speculative, I agree, but it allows the jury to make that unfair inference. So I just ask that they break up the two questions.
I understand, but 4-3 is a high bar for you. I don't think it's substantial. Otherwise, the court would oblige. So,
So after you heard Ms. Covington say, I'd also like any one of these if you catch my drift, what did you do?
Well, you know, in the mood in the room, it seemed real tense. So I figured I could try to lighten things up, you know, be the funny guy. So I made a joke about how the briefcase, it looked older than Steven Tyler. I thought it was hilarious, you know, but no one else seemed to laugh, so I just kind of got out of there.
You were leaving the room, did you hear anything?
Yeah, you know, when I was out in the hallway, I heard all this screaming and yelling coming from the room, and then Covington came running out of there like a bat out of hell.
All right, sir, did you ever see a briefcase that looked like the one Covington had again?
Yeah, you know, I felt like for the next few days, I couldn't stop seeing the things.
What do you mean?
Well, a couple days later, I'm working near the front desk. Open a couple package. There's a briefcase inside.
Now, what did this briefcase look like?
It was black, had 2 silver latches, number pads. You know, looked just like the one Covington had, except this one was brand spanking new.
And what did you do with the briefcase you saw?
Well, I was screening Mr. Bancroft's mail, so I brought it up to his office.
Okay, so I want to follow this new briefcase with you, all right?
Okay.
Did you ever see that newer looking briefcase again?
Yeah, you know, I saw it the next day.
Who had it?
Mr. Bancroft did.
Objection, Your Honor, speculation. To the fact that the briefcase he saw was the exact same briefcase that had come in the mail. We just haven't heard that foundation yet.
Response to that, Your Honor?
Yes.
The witness can testify as to what he saw for 701. If he saw a briefcase the day before, and he said he saw the same briefcase the day after, he's certainly allowed to say it's the same briefcase, especially since he delivered it to Mr. Bancroft's office. It's 701. Perception rationally based on the witness's side.
Exactly what foundation would you like to lay?
Just how he would know that it was the exact same briefcase. I mean, he just described that it was a black briefcase and 2 silver latches, a black handle. I mean, that sounds pretty ordinary to me. Maybe if he could lay foundation as to if there were any distinguishing
Response to
features.
that, Your Honor?
Mr. Rizzo, I think you landed on a great cross-examination topic.
Sounds good, Your Honor.
So, sir, who did you see the newer looking briefcase? Who had it?
Well, Mr. Bancroft did. You know, he was sitting in the VIP room. He had the new briefcase next to his chair, and Miss Covington was right next to him. She had that old one next to her chair.
So what did you do after you saw it?
I had to go back down to the front desk and do my job.
Did you ever see the defendant leave on that day?
Yeah, I mean, not only 15 minutes later, I was by the front desk and I saw Miss Covington leaving, except this time, you know, she had the new briefcase.
Can you describe that newer looking briefcase to the jury?
Black, 2 silver latches, number pad, black handle, brand new.
So, sir, the record reflect I'm showing the witness states for the briefcase. Is this the same briefcase you saw Miss Covington leaving with on that day?
Yeah, exactly, you know, that's it. I can see the 2 silver latches, the number pads, the black handle, brand new smooth leather. That's the thing.
How sure are you that this is the same briefcase that you saw?
I'm really positive. You know, I stake my life on that.
Thank you, Mr. Delsesto. No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Rizzo, I'm guessing you have some questions.
You would stake your life on it,
Hold
sir.
on, Your Honor. Permission to retender the republish the evidence to the jury.
Actually,
So,
Mr. Owens, do you mind if I use
I
that?
thought you might.
Thank you very much.
All right. What do you get about Mr. Owens to make this say?
I apologize, Your Honor.
Counsel Rubin.
You'd stake your life on it, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I figure there's 3 things I stake my life on. That briefcase, the fact my wife Teresa's going to yell at me when I get home, and that the Flyers are the best team in hockey.
Sir, if you could just answer my questions with a yes or no.
Sure.
What you're telling the members of the jury to believe is that you saw that briefcase, what was it now, a year ago, right?
Yeah.
You saw it up close.
Well, yeah, I saw it when it got delivered. I saw it in the VIP room. I saw it when Covington was leaving. I saw it when the picture of it when I made my affidavit, and now I'm seeing it now.
And you described it had 2 silver latches,
Well, yeah, it's that one. It's got the 2 silver latches,
Right.
the number pads,
Black handle.
surface, black handle, yeah.
rectangular, right?
That's the shape, yeah.
Looks like a pretty ordinary briefcase, wouldn't you say, sir?
Well, I mean, I'm seeing briefcases all the time. You kind of can tell them apart.
So you're saying if I ordered an exact same one of these briefcases, the same model, everything, you would be 100% certain that you could tell the difference between this one and the one I ordered?
Well, I'd have to see the one you ordered, so I wouldn't know until I saw it.
Why not? You just said you're 100% sure that this is the exact briefcase that came in the mail that day.
Well, yeah, because that's the brand new one. You see, the other one was a real old look, and I could tell the difference between the two.
Well, that's not what you said, sir. What you said is that this is the exact same one that came in the mail.
Well, it was, because, you know, I opened it.
So if I ordered another exact same one, brand new, would you be able to tell the difference or not?
Probably, yeah.
You would be able to tell the difference?
Well, yeah, you know, I could tell that's the one I
Sir,
opened.
when Mr. Rama showed this to you, he didn't
Your Honor, I
even
ask that the witness be allowed to finish his answer. He was cut off before he had a chance to finish.
I apologize, I didn't realize that.
Anything else to say, sir?
Don't worry about it. You know, I could just tell that's the one. You know, not every briefcase is going to look exactly the same. I deal with luggage all the time. I remember that one.
Can you name a single distinguishing feature of it, sir?
Well, yeah, there's a little indent on the top right there.
And you can see an indent on the top of the hole right over there?
Yeah, you know, my mother always said I got the best vision in the family.
Sir, when Mr. Ramos told you about this briefcase, he didn't even bring it up to you, right?
Well, yeah, because I could tell it was the one from over there.
You didn't even have a chance to look at it and examine it yourself.
Well, no, on the day I saw it from about this far away, too.
And yet you're claiming to the members of the jury you're 100% sure that that is the exact briefcase that was ordered 1 year ago.
Yeah, I am.
So let's talk about what condition you were under that day when you saw that briefcase 1 year ago. You were pretty tired, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, you know, I was pretty tired. I had to do a back-to-back shift, and I only took a nap in between, but I'd slept the whole night before.
Exactly. You got off at 6 a.m., right? Or excuse me, you got off at 2 a.m. the night before, is that right?
Yeah,
Then you had to get back on at 6 a.m.
yeah.
And that 4 hours in between, you couldn't even sleep for all of it, could you?
Well, I took a nap for like 30 minutes.
Right. That whole night, you got 20 minutes of sleep.
Well, the night in between. I also slept in the afternoon the day before.
You'd say you were pretty tired that day, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, I was tired. I'm working all day.
And when you're tired, you'd agree, sir, it can be harder to focus on details, can't it?
No, I wouldn't say that.
You don't think it's harder to pay attention to things when you're tired, sir?
I mean, depends on what you're paying attention to.
Sir, that day you were half asleep, wouldn't you say?
Well, I was pretty tired towards the end.
You say that you were stumbling around like a zombie, right?
Yeah, because I was carrying around all that heavy luggage all day.
And it was on that day when you were half asleep, stumbling around like a zombie on 20 minutes of sleep, that you saw that briefcase.
Yeah.
And now, that's what you're claiming, you're 100% sure that you saw it.
Objection asked and answered.
Sir, one last thing I want to ask you about. You said you know Miss Covington, right?
Well, I know her from around, yeah.
Right, because she's a regular at the casino, isn't she?
Yeah, she was always gambling around there.
Right, you see her gambling all the time.
Yeah, you know, if it wasn't poker, blackjack, I think I even saw her playing solitaire in a corner by herself a couple of
And
times.
from what you could tell, Miss Covington isn't a bad gambler, is she?
I never really watched her play that much, so I couldn't tell you.
You never saw her lose large sums of money, did you?
Well, I never saw her really win or lose large amounts of money, no.
Well, actually, sir, from what you could tell, it seemed like Miss Covington gambled with a lot of money. Wouldn't you
She
say?
was one of them high rollers. They're a lot better poker players than I am.
Exactly. The high rollers, they're pretty good at poker, aren't they?
Well, yeah, they got a lot of money, I guess.
Thank you, sir. Nothing further.
No redirect.
No redirect, Your Honor. With your permission, the witness may step down.
Thank you.
May I return this to the jury now, Your Honor?
You may. Prosecution. Anything else?
This time, the state rests its case in chief and requests a brief 5-minute recess for your discretion, Your Honor.
We'll do that. We'll take a 5-minute recess. You have something to add?
Your Honor, just briefly before the recess,
Yes.
Your Honor asked us to renew our objection to the statements made by Avery Bancroft at the end of the prosecution's case in chief, and we would renew our objection that they failed to prove a conspiracy between Avery Bancroft and Ms. Covington by preponderance of the evidence. They've proven that Mr. Bancroft put money into a briefcase and that Mr. Bancroft wanted to offer a bribe, but they have not proven by preponderance of the evidence that Ms. Covington wanted to accept one.
Your Honor, may I be heard?
Yes.
Pursuant to that case law we talked about earlier, State v. Owens, it says we have the remainder of the trial, including their case in chief, not just ours. Furthermore, Your Honor, the only statement they objected to was on the direct of Tracy Minettos, where he said that Avery Bancroft stated, "I'm willing to do more than just the proposal, I'm willing to go the extra mile."
Counsel, you're going to present evidence?
Your Honor, we are planning to present evidence.
All right, then I'll reserve ruling until the conclusion of the presentation of that evidence. The court will stand adjourned until.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Three, oh.